Let's make some noise. How's everybody doing? Good, 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 good. Thank you, Carl. I love that clap. Welcome. This is a panel about the legacy of SOBs. I don't know how many people are familiar from New York. It is one of the most legendary venues of all time. You know, given the starts of John Legend, Kanye West, Drake, Alicia Keys, can I say Alicia Keys? And so many other great, great artists. And so before we kick off this panel with the executive producer of this documentary, Jeanine Mclean, who is the president of MBK Entertainment. She has managed the likes of her, Alicia Keys, Tone Stith, whom I'm missing like 80 other artists, K. Michelle. She is an NAACP award winner as an executive producer for Pariah. She is Billboard's power player in R&B and hip hop, Billboard Women in Music recognition, Billboard Everything, Power 100. She is a phenomenon in music and in film. My name is Brandon Pankey. I am the CEO and founder of Apex, Artist Presented Experiences, a new streaming network for artists that just launched this year on Apple and Android. Thank you. Thank you. All right now. All right, I paid for that. No, just launched. I previously worked for Live Nation, producing music festivals ranging from the Roots Picnic to Hers Festival, Lights On Festival in the Bay Area, Lil Wayne's Festival in New Orleans, and a host of other festivals and tours. And I'm excited to be here to talk about SOBs, to talk about the legacy of this venue. And we're going to kick it off with a short clip, just so you can get a preview of what this documentary was going to be about. Then we're going to go into a Q&A with you, Jeanine. So thank you.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about SOBs for a second. Why did you even want to create this documentary? What was the passion behind it?
Definitely a passion project. As a teenager walking past the venue, becoming familiar with it, and then many years later being able to bring my artists to perform there has been kismet. It's absolutely something that, kind of dreams are made of, to say that you're going to one day be, attending a venue, but then you wind up partnering with them, building something so spectacular as a documentary. And, in speaking with Larry, with this being the 40-year anniversary of the venue, we said it was important for this to be memorialized and for everyone to know that this has truly been a launching pad for so many artists. Like, this is literally, and you'll see this in the documentary, Drake said no one else would give him a chance to perform. It was only SOBs, the Lemonade. Same thing with Kendrick. And they're very, passionate as I am about being sure that this story is told.
And what does that mean, right? Because, on the Live Nation side, we have a ton of venues that artists can perform, and especially emerging artists as they start their careers. Why is SOB so important in the fabric of music?
It's important because, as I said, when we go with the Drake scenario, there are many venues that won't let you in until you're established. So how do you get established? Like, that's, all right. All right. So how do you get established if, it's like the chicken before the egg thing. So this venue takes the chance to say, I believe in you, I'm going to give you an opportunity to come here and have this platform to perform.
Let's keep going with the documentary. Yep. I'm just excited to see that a Black woman is leading this, is the executive producer in making this happen. How did you come to be a part of this project?
Yes, and I will say that was very important to Larry. He said he really felt that there needed to be someone African American to tell the story, and I agree, obviously. And again, having built a friendship with him over the last 2 decades from doing business there, I can say that he's very earnest in that. He wants the story to be told from the proper perspective, and I'm happy to do it. Obviously, with some great partners like yourself and others, we're going to bring in the element that is needed for this piece, and that's the sit down with all of the artists. We have the sit down interviews where they're really telling about their experiences there and what it meant to them, and that's what Larry and I and everyone involved is most excited about.
That's great. I want to touch on something as an entrepreneur, right? I know you've been approached by major streamers, right, for this project. And I want to get into detail of what this project will be, is it a documentary, docuseries, et cetera. But why focus on, a startup, sort of streaming service to have this on Apex, watch apex.com. Why focus on that versus focusing on the Hulus and Netflixes of the world, who I know will cut a nice check, even in this time?
I'm glad you asked that. So, I mean, obviously, we come from a place of empowering those that we rock with. And obviously, Apex is your company that you built, and our relationship, knowing that you're building this platform that I know is going to be amazing, and that a project like this is going to truly, I think it's going to get its just due. It's going to be presented properly. Just the fact that, we're telling a story of people that got their first starts, and then to be on a platform that's a startup, it's just all something that makes sense. And we're all about relationship and supporting each other, and this is truly, defining that. This is not just talk about it, this is really talk about it.
And SOBs was founded in 1982.
Yep.
Tell me about it. Is it going to be a documentary spanning 40 years or is it more?
It's going to be a documentary spanning 40 years, and we're also going to break it down into a docuseries. So there's so many verticals of this story to tell, from obviously the fact that it's still an independently owned venue, that it's not been swallowed up by the Live Nations and such, so that's an important story. The fact that it's still sitting in the same place where every other venue around it has closed. I used to party at the Carter's Garage right down the block. That's now an office building. You know what I'm saying? Like, so many venues are gone, but this one is still staying tried and true. So I think that's really important. We have also, the fact that it's not just R&B and rap, but it's Brazilian music, it's Afrobeats, it's Caribbean, it's just now they're doing K-pop. So there are so many vertical stories to tell, and then of course the culture around it, music, lifestyle, even architecture, how the architecture, everything around the venue has changed and how it stayed the same. So that gives so much material. Oh, and of course 40 years of archival footage. I mean, we could tell the story for another 40 years.
Right. I want to talk about your pivot specifically into this realm. I mean, you manager for Alicia Keys, manager for her. I mean, these are multi-Grammy-winning, award-winning artists, multi-platinum
And
artists,
Oscar.
and Oscar-winning artists. Say it for me. Why are you like, I want to start getting into this film space? Why was it so important? This is the first time this clip has been aired in any film festival ever. Why was it so important to be here at this film festival to show this?
African American Film Festival, Martha's Vineyard. I mean, this is legendary. So just trying to keep the legendary, moniker running straight through. But I mean, my pivot is about, just me growing as a person. And, when you're doing something that you love, obviously it's never worked. But as a person, you grow, you change, you want to do different things. You want to stay excited and impassioned. And you want to do things that, you feel, make you excited. Like, oh, I'm doing something new. And I know that my pivot is well received. Everyone is supporting me in it. And obviously, I have obviously done some film before, but, it's a pivot, but still, it's in the realm, the music realm, obviously being able to speak to all the artists that perform there. But I mean, it's just a passion. It's something that is exciting now.
Are there parallels between the two industries?
Yeah, well, for this project in particular, obviously a music documentary, yeah, but I don't know. What do you think? Do you think there's parallels?
I think there are. Dealing with artists, creatives in general, there's always a certain parallel. But I also think just the independent spirit that you have. I'm we're going through the strike right now, of course, but I'm a huge fan of just independent films and figuring out ways to create independently. And shout out, I think the one person who screened for me, there's Aaliyah Williams, who, she's a phenomenal filmmaker. I don't know if anyone Gentrified on Netflix. She's working on a Black Barbie documentary that is screening here at 3:30. I'm gonna shout you out. But she's big in, just really independent filming, right? And I think what you're doing is phenomenal because you're bringing to light, a certain level of music, musicality that we're not necessarily getting. And I think this documentary is gonna bring it. I would also say for you, just do you find it difficult managing everything? I was at an event last night, and we were just talking about juggling so much, right? Like, I want to do this, I want to do that, and we have the freedoms now as Black people to do more, to be more, to continue to rise. How do you find that sort of balance, that life balance of making sure that you take care of home, but also, you're producing documentaries, but you're also working with artists. It's a lot, how do you balance that?
It is a lot, but you make time for the things that you love. You make, time for self-care. Self-care is super important. You gotta make sure you take care of yourself, otherwise you're gonna fall apart and nothing's gonna get done. So it's just, a lot of good organizational skills. Like, and it's sometimes getting up at 5 a.m, organizing my day, and then making sure that I accomplish everything that needs to be done. But it's, I don't know, it feels manageable. It's so weird. I know, like, when you talk it through, sometimes when I say it to myself, I'm like, how am I doing this all in a 24-hour time period? But again, it gets done. Everything gets done well. I have a great team of supporters, so it's not just me just running around doing everything by myself. Let's keep it 100. Obviously, there's a great team behind me, supporting me. But it's, I don't know, it feels great. It feels great.
And the reason I asked that, I feel like we go to these panel discussions and we're always like, we're talking about the documentary, we're talking about the work, but we don't talk about ourselves and what we have to go through getting up every day to actually do and accomplish everything we want to accomplish. And even with this, because this is, independently done for now, you're managing the creative, you're managing the business behind it. And I don't think self-funding, because I tried in my pocket. Self-funding, and it's difficult. And I don't think we touch on that enough. You know what I mean? As creatives, as executives, we don't touch on what it takes to actually build this. And so I just think it's phenomenal to see what you're doing and to see what's being built, with this documentary. And we're slated to air this in 2024, correct? Yes,
absolutely. We're gonna hit that mark. We're great. I know that I say self-funded, but I do have some supporters, some financial supporters. The biggest expense on this is the licensing. So that's coming in at a nice cool, 7 figures. So that's the tough part. But outside of that stress, we're there, we got it. But everything else is falling into place. Again, every artist that's been there says I have to be there to support it. So they're showing up for the interviews. They're doing what they have to do. So it's actually making it easy to manage.
Gotcha. Music licensing is 7 figures right now?
Yeah.
Because of all the artists?
Because of all the artists. I want to keep them all in. A Drake clearance is not cheap. A Kendrick clearance, especially Kanye clearance. And I want to keep him in there because it is an important part of the story, even though he's controversial right now. It doesn't matter. It's still, part of the history of the venue. And then, we're going back to Mark Anthony, John Legend. When he performed, he wasn't even John. He was still going by Steven. Yep. So, there's so many labels and artists to deal with.
Can you listed about a few of the artists, but just give some more names that have actually been, touched that stage, because I think it's important for people to understand that.
Jeez.
If you can think of
Fela Kuti. Oh my gosh, all the African artists, like you could just run them down. But every Caribbean artist, from Elephant Man to Buju Banton to then we have on the other side, we have Alan Stone from the pop side. And then we have Anderson .Paak. We have, oh my gosh, so many. The list is crazy. Like, pretty much any artist that you can think of has performed there. That's basically what it is. You can say pretty much any artist that is contemporary has been there.
And for those that are going to create docs, for those that want to be part of that music licensing piece, and that's why I touched on it again, is so important. And when you're thinking about raising money for something like a documentary, especially a music documentary, you have to create that line item because it's expensive.
That's the line item that scares many people away.
Yeah.
But again, we want to do it right, and we're going to do it all inclusively. Every genre is going to be touched. And in fact, we had a little anniversary event last week, and the mayor proclaimed July 25th as SOB's day, and a number of artists came down and they did their testimonials, and so that was a big part of the filming process. But again, everyone now is reaching out. They're like, I want to be a part of. They want to be a part of. So that's great for us to be able to capture them. Then you go to the business, that's the label, and that's where those expenses come in on clearances.
Gotcha. So you're self-funding with some support. Do you find it difficult finding, financing for this film, in the conversations that you've had? Like, what are those sort of next steps for you? to get this going?
Fortunately, it's not been that challenging, because the name carries weight and value. And of course, the name, name value is everything. People hear the name, so like, okay, I know that I'm gonna get a return. We're gonna definitely make sure this sees a huge spotlight. But I'm fortunate to know a lot of people with a lot of money.
And I'm her friend, so I'm gonna go out too. That'd be a blessing. No, what can we expect out of this documentary? What will it mean? When it's out, what's the legacy that you want to leave with this documentary?
Okay, the legacy is that, first of all, that an African American woman could do it. That's really important. I mean, I have nieces, I have nephews as well, but it's important the way that they look up to me, for me to be sure that they see that positive role model. Of course, they have it in their moms. My sisters are amazing as well, but it's important for them to see that. It's important for all my mentees. I mentor in so many programs, from Alicia Keys' Choose the Music to, Grammy U to Heather Larry's Spend It Forward. So I have so many mentees that are looking up to me to see this come to fruition, and it gives them the power, to know that they can accomplish anything that they want to do at, any time. So that's really important, to leave that legacy as an African American woman. And then, again, from music, to have a story told, very, thoroughly, authentically. I know it's an overused word, but authentically, we're really going to tell the story. This clip doesn't even touch on the emotion. I mean, there's parts of the story where Larry, he literally breaks down in tears, and he's agreed for us to air that, and just so much passion behind it, because it's telling the story of artists' lives. And you see them, when you see Drake there, that's not Drake now. Drake owns 10 private planes right now. He didn't own 10 private planes when he did that first show. So to be able to tell that story from that literal obscurity to literal superstardom is very important.
So fun fact, I was actually on the business management team. I was at that show. That Drake was there. Yeah. So me and Aubrey don't talk now because he's got 10 private planes. But
People change. Money does change.
But I mean but the joy that these artists have, because I've been to SOBs multiple times, to see them, especially when they just start out. You know what I mean? This is the best stage that they've been on.
Yes.
And to see what they can accomplish and where they go from there. And you've seen the people, even in the clip, from Kanye to Kendrick. So it's really a blessing. It's a blessing that you're creating this documentary. So thank you.
But let me just point out one thing.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a lot of, you see the recent, like that shout out from the stage, my first show at SOBs, that was like 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. So it's so top of mind to them, that everywhere they go, they're like, yes, this was my first shot. And Drake, he tells a whole story that will be, encompassed in the full documentary, where he tells the whole story of how, nobody wanted to sign him, nobody wanted to give him a chance. There were no opportunities. There was, there was just nothing, but he just kept going. So that's even, that's a big part of the story of the not giving up, and the, getting your first opportunity and then being able to launch into stardom.
I love it. Can we go to Q&A?
Sure.
If anybody has questions, comments, concerns, hopes, dreams, we can talk about it all up here. And just make up a question so I don't sound crazy asking for Q&A. Yes, sir.
When you started in your mind, because we're talking about going to the garage and the other venues, did you ever think that you would be a part of a legacy with SOBs while everybody else fall apart?
I'm at the age now that I believe in kismet. I believe that things are destined. There are, obviously, there's some things that just happen randomly, but just in my mind's eye, how impactful it was walking past that venue at such a young age, looking at it, saying, oh, wow, that's cute. And then, being able to do business there and now do this documentary, it's just something that you just got to say, God is just really in charge. It's just what it is. Because I remember so distinctly looking at it as it was opening, as it was brand new. And it just, something made me stop and look and say, wow, what a great concept. And now, so many years later, yeah, it worked out. It's pretty wild.
I said all I needed was one question. Oh no, we have two.
Thank you. First, congratulations to you both. I'm so excited about Apex. I'm so excited about you telling the story of SOBs. And forgive me if you already answered this, but are you seeing this as a one-off film, or are you seeing this as a docuseries? Because the more you talk about it, it sounds like you could do an episodic of the first shot for all of these incredible artists with SOB's story going as a through line throughout it. But I'm just curious what your full vision for all of it is.
Yes, the vision is for it to be both. The documentary is really going to be told from Larry's perspective, you know, with a lot of flashback, a lot of historical footage, of course, you know, him really telling the story. His wife also is a big part of the story. And then all of the employees that have been there, some for 40 years. So that's the documentary is telling a lot of that story. Then the docuseries will, you know, obviously encompass some of that, but you know, that'll really dig deep into, like, we'll have like a hip hop, you know, episode. So all the hip hop artists, and then, you know, Afro beats, and then Brazilian, etc. So that's how it's gonna play out.
You scripted too.
You know what? Someone by the name of Dennis right there, he actually said the other day, he was like, why don't you do this as scripted? I was like, I don't know. That's something to talk about. We'll see.
Separate panel. So,
Yeah.
any other questions? We appreciate everyone being here, listening in. I know there's a great film happening right now.
Same damn time.
So the fact that you guys are here listening, we really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Jeanine, where can everyone find you?
Easy breezy Instagram, Jeanine Mclean. That's my full name. And yeah, I follow back and I connect with people. I like to build. You know, I am a true entrepreneur. I like to speak to people that also have projects and desires and dreams and building. So I connect a lot of dots. I put a lot of people with others that can help. So that's kind of my thing.
Awesome. Don't worry about me. Go to Watch Apex now. You know, download the app. That's what I want you to focus on. WatchApex.com. And yeah, we'll be in 90 million homes by.
Wait, could I just say one thing though?
Go for it.
How awesome is it that you and I were both on like Ebony Power 100 at the same time?
We were on Ebony Power 100 at the same time.
Which is really big.
It's huge. I snuck in. I was like 101, but somebody left out. But Jeanine, I'm telling you, one of the most remarkable Black women in this music industry that I've ever met, that I've ever dealt with, and real. Like, you know how people, especially in these industries, they talk stuff on the Lord's Day. They talk stuff and they are, you know, yeah, we're gonna get together, we're gonna touch base, and then you don't hear from them ever in life. Jeanine will follow up. Jeanine will follow up on her follow-up when you don't follow up. She is a blessing, and she's been true to her word, and to see what she's doing with this documentary and what you've done forever in this industry is a blessing. It's really, really humbling for me to know you, honestly.
Oh, thank you. I stay real quiet.
Thanks, everybody.